And then
good morning, ladies and gentlemen from Jakarta, ASEAN Center for Energy. My name is Zulfikar and I will be your host/MC for today. So today we are going to have the launching event, launching webinar for our newly established ARNECC Research Database. And we titled this launching talk today as Growing the Research Environment on Energy and Climate Change in ASEAN. A brief history is together with NUPI, we are implementing the ASEAN Climate Change and Energy Project, or ASEP, supported by the Norwegian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And as part of that activities, we were thinking the importance of having this triple helix activity. So introducing the elements of academicians, scholars, research institutes, and universities in the discussions of policies and also the discussions of energy from the perspective of private sectors. That's why in the February 2020, we established the ASEAN Researcher Network on Energy and Climate Change, or called ARNECC. And it has been 1.5 years. We have done several activities. We have shared research within the regions. And currently we have like a set of activities, including the ARNECC Paper Talk. We plan to have the first ASEAN International Conference on Energy and Environment later this year. And today we want to release one of the products from ARNECC, which is the ARNECC Research Database. And without further ado, I would like to start today's event by inviting our Executive Director of ACE, Dr. Nuki Age Utama, to provide his welcoming and opening remarks.
Thank you very much, Dr. Zulfikar. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from Jakarta. Dear distinguished panelists, Professor Dr. Enia Liciani Dewi, the Deputy of Information Technology, Energy and Minerals Agency for the Assessment and Application of Technology Indonesia. Dr. Per Christerlund, Science and Technology Counselor from Innovation Norway, Royal Norwegian Embassy in Singapore. Associate Professor Lee Po Seng, the Executive Director, Energy Studies Institute, National University of Singapore. And I also want to congratulate Professor Lee for your promotion as the new Executive Director of ASI, and we look forward to enhancing our collaboration. Again, thank you very much for all of you for joining us this morning. Dear colleagues, ASEAN colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the ASEAN Center for Energy, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the ASEAN Energy Climate Nexus webinar. For today's series, we will launch our new initiative, the ARNECC Research Database, as part of our effort to grow the research environment and energy climate change in ASEAN. I want to express my appreciation to the panelists for their time and kind efforts in sharing perspective and insight with us. And it is indeed an honor for ACE to host this meeting. This event is organized under the ASEAN Climate Change and Energy Project, or ASEP, which is funded by the Royal Norwegian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Ladies and gentlemen, the 38th ASEAN Ministers on Energy meeting, or AMEM, this year has acknowledged last year has acknowledged a new outcome-based strategy in the Regional Energy Policy and Planning (REPP) program area, namely promotion of information sharing on the energy climate nexus. ASEAN Center for Energy through ASEP program having webinar series on various topics in the energy climate nexus as part of the strategy. Apart from webinars, we are also actively publishing articles, policy briefs, and opinion pieces in the energy climate nexus, and all are available on the ACE and ASEP website. Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, given the importance of the contemporary energy and climate issues in ASEAN and the need for interdisciplinary research on such topics, the ASEAN Center for Energy and the Norwegian Institute of International Affairs, NUPI, through their joint ASEAN Climate Change and Energy projects, established a new group of scholars, analysts, researchers, students, and other stakeholders organized around the themes of energy studies and climate studies or research. It's called the ASEAN Researchers Network on Energy and Climate Change, or ARNECC. The ARNECC provide an interdisciplinary forum for discussing social, economic, governance, and technical issues related to the energy and/or climate change. Early this year, on February 24, 2021, we celebrate the first anniversary of the ASEAN Research Network on Energy and Climate Change. At that event, we heard a lot the input from you to further establish a framework for information sharing amongst researchers. Hence, as per this request, to further promote the information sharing on various papers and on energy and climate change about ASEAN or any countries in the region, ASEP program developed an ARNECC Research Database. It is designed to become a library and showroom of the papers published by researchers addressing the issues of energy and climate change in the region. Through its filtering function, the users can explore various papers on the topic or country of their interest. Through ARNECC Research Database, it is expected that the researchers further promote their papers and open the windows of collaboration. The ARNECC Research Database could also potentially become a benchmark for the development of the research environment in ASEAN. Furthermore, it will be a solid basis and references for the policymakers in developing national energy policy, which is related to energy and climate change issues. Hence, I'm inviting everyone to access this database and also to be involved actively by sharing your paper or manuscript. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I would like to thank the Norwegian government for supporting ASEP and our distinguished panelists today for their excellent preparation to support this webinar. I sincerely hope every participant could actively discuss their views on this ARNECC Research Database for strengthened collaboration. I wish you a productive discussion today and good health during this pandemic period. Once again, thank you very much. Stay safe and stay healthy. Have a nice discussion. Back to you, Dr. Zulfikar. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nuki, for the very positive opening remarks. As mentioned by Dr. Nuki, we plan to have this ARNECC Research Database. The plan is basically coming from our network of researchers which want to have the specific showroom so they can share their studies related to the energy and climate change in the region, but also to improve more discussions within researchers in the regions, as well as for helping the researchers to find proper references for their studies. Without further ado, let me go to the next agenda, which is the launch of the ARNECC Research Database itself, which will be done by our project manager of ASEP, Mr. Beni Suryadi.
Thank you very much, Dr. Zulfikar. Good morning, everyone from Jakarta. Thank you very much for joining with us today, where we are launching our initiative that already mentioned by Dr. Nuki, the Executive Director, on the ARNECC Research Database. It's also, as mentioned earlier, we established what we call it ASEAN Researcher Network on Energy and Climate Change. It has around 300 researchers as part of this group members already, coming from many university research institutions in the Southeast Asia region and also beyond. So we also have researchers joining with us coming from Europe or US, who are doing the research on the energy and the climate change related to the Southeast Asia region, be it at the national level or at a regional level. It's open membership, so everyone is welcome to join as this ARNECC group. And as echo what is mentioned by Dr. Zulfikar earlier, that one of the activities that we done under this ARNECC is to promote the discussion on the various research on the energy and climate change in Southeast Asia region. We believe many researchers in this region, but it's not properly disseminate the finding, the papers. So regularly, we organize what we call ARNECC paper talk, where the researcher has the opportunity to present the published paper and to the audience and engage the discussion. This is also where we are expecting to bridge the discussion between the finding from the researchers to the policy makers, so we can make use best of this paper. So far, we already it's being organized regularly every month. We already organized it 4 times. It's presented by various researchers in the Southeast Asia region. Including also we have Dr. Yulizia from ESI joining us in the second next paper talk. Then move to the main initiative that we are launching today. What we call it ARNECC Research Database. It's being part of the website that we are that we have it. So this visualization can show you on the ARNECC Research Database. It's part of the website that we have at the accept.aseanenergy.org. So it's part of the main website of the ASEAN Center for Energy, when you can access all the information about the projects and our activities on energy and climate change. And related to this research database, you can access it as part of this website, where so far we already collected around 100 papers, journals being done by be it from the researcher from the Southeast Asia or from the others, but focusing on the issue on energy and climate change in the Southeast Asia. So in this research database, so we compile everything so that you can use it as Dr. Nuki mentioned, as a showroom, as a one platform where you can see how the research is going on in the Southeast Asia region. So it's focusing only on the Southeast Asia. So we can also see and learn that how the researcher is going, what is the topic is really currently being done by the research. And this in this showroom or platform, you can filter it by country, publisher, keywords, and when it's being published, and also whether it's open access or a closed access. So we don't own these papers, then it's directly connected. So when you search and you open one of it, it's directly connected to the original source. Then it's also some information about how you are going to cite the papers, and then connect it to the original link with all of detailed information. Where if that's open access, you can download it. Then so you can get it information. But if not open access, then you need somehow to find an access. So maybe in the future that we are also able to facilitate so that we can spread more the information on the energy and climate change in the Southeast Asia region. And back to this, as mentioned earlier, we collected around 100 papers so far with the help of our team. But actually also everyone can submit their own papers to be registered, to be listed, so it can have a better dissemination, better spreading in promotion of this website. ACE is also in the best place to bridging between the academic and the policy makers. We hope by submitting your papers in this will also allowing you to connect with the policy makers. You don't have to be a member of ARNECC to upload these papers. Everyone is invited, but it's also very much welcome for you to join this ARNECC, the ASEAN Researcher Network on Energy and the Climate Change in South Asia. So that concludes the launch, the presentation about the ASEAN Research Database. Then moving forward, that's going to be to the panel discussion. It's the honor for me is also to moderate this panel discussion to further discuss about this initiative, the ASEAN Research Database, and also get to further introduce the ARNECC Research Database and initiate the discussion on how this could be used to support the research environment in ASEAN and bringing the finding for the interest of the policymakers and all of other stakeholders in effort for low carbon transition in the region. So joining with us this morning, three noble distinguished experts, Professor Dr. Enia Listiani Dewi, Deputy Information Technology, Energy and Material of Agency for the Assessment and Application of Technology Indonesia. And also we have Associate Professor Lee Ho Seng, Executive Director of the Energy Studies Institute from the National University of Singapore, and Dr. Per Christerlund, Science and Technology Counselor, Innovation Norway of Royal Norwegian Embassy in Singapore. To start with the discussion, then I would like to invite each of the panelists to have their first introduction speech to share about the work that the institution that you are working on the energy and climate nexus, and how you see this ARNECC Research Database will be a useful reference for this issue. I will start with Professor Dr. Enia Listiani Dewi. Just for the introduction that Professor Enia was awarded as a research professor in the field of electrochemical process technology in 2016 and currently as a deputy head. She's also active chairman of the Indonesian Polymer Association. Professor Enia has a long list of the awards. It takes hours to read all the long list and that, but it's also published a book on understanding a social and hydrogen technology in 2010, and then has produced more than 200 international and national papers. So may I invite Professor Enia for your 5 minutes introduction, please.
Oh, okay, thank you, Pak Benny and many other colleagues. Happy good morning, and nice to see you, to know you, and to know about the ARNECC Research Database. That is, I'm firstly access to your website also, so it's very interesting. So can I? I cannot share something that I can introduce.
Yes, can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Before I will introduce you that my affiliation is from BPPT, and I'm also not only the deputy chairperson for BPPT. Our institution is have 3,000 researchers, and then we also under consideration coordination with the National Research and Innovation Agency, and I'm also the representing member of Indonesian National Energy Council, DEN, and I'm chairing the Polymer Association as well as Indonesia Fuel Cell and Hydrogen Energy. And I'm also the member of APEC Energy Working Group, joined with China, Taipei, and many other countries for doing the biohydrogen research. Then this is my affiliation. BPPT is established from 1974. And then you know well about Professor Habibi, and he lead this agency. Then now our leader is Dr. Hamam Riza, and I am one of the 5 members of deputy chair that consider about the information, energy, and also the materials. So our institution also have 3,000 researchers, and then we have a facility. We have a laboratory, national laboratory, and then we also have our internal funding. We have many collaboration with the university. We have many collaboration with the global network, and then we have also put our product or our pilot plan to the industry, the private industry also, but mainly on national industry. And then we also have many startups in technology, and we also doing the technology implementation to the public. So all of this collaboration is supporting our research facility. Well, can I talk about the energy for this 5 minutes, maybe 7 minutes?
Yes.
Benny, yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry because I have another meeting, but I will join back. Yeah.
Yes.
Talking about the energy, you know that Indonesia now is sounding about the net zero emission scenario. And we know that the global commitment, there is a Paris Agreement, and then there is a national commitment that mandated by since 2016. And then we know that we will achieve 41% with the international assistance and 29% by our own. And then the energy sector commitment is how to reduce GHG emission in 2030. And then we know that from many perspectives of the government, for example, Bappenas is the national planning agency. They have 4 scenarios to achieve net zero emission for 2045, 2050, 2060, and then 2070. So there is 4 scenarios to achieve net zero emission. And then you know that the other ministry, for such a Ministry of Environment and Forestry, they also have regulation. They also have a pathway to achieve net zero emission in 2070. So, but they have several steps to achieve the 2070. The peaking emission is on 2030. And you know that Indonesia will be a 100th anniversary on 2045. So this is the also the step to go to the next ARNECC new and renewable mix in our energy. And then the interesting way is the prefecture pathway. Well, we must waiting for the what is exactly sectoral and prefecture pathway. Maybe the province of Jakarta should have more attractive to the going to net zero emission and so on. But it is still on the planning. So the other from the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, they have just one scenario to achieve in 2070. But you know that the nuclear nuclear manufacture, the construction, I mean the nuclear construction, is start from 2040. This is, you know, in this planning, they want to stop the power plant of steam that using coal, and there is no additional steam power plant also. And you know, many technologies suggested that we must use carbon capture storage, right? Well, and what is now? Now is we have a 23% of new and renewable energy target in 2024, but we just can achieve in 2025 is it's only about 16%. So the BPPT have an energy outlook scenario, and we thought that the Indonesia have only can achieve ARNECC in 2025 is just only 16%, sorry, 16%, 16. So we still want a government to accelerate the new and renewable energy. And the big sector that consuming the emission is transportation and industry. So we just focusing on that two point to reduce the emission. What we will do? Indonesia have a statement that net zero emission action plan is one is biodiesel program. We know that B30, B50, and so on, and co-firing. The co-firing on existing steam power plant, and then we refuse the derived fuel. This is from waste, or we can change the waste to fuel, and then we accelerate the another NRE from, especially from biomass, such as a briquette and so on. And we must stop a steam power plant total 53 gigawatt by 2025. Start from 2025 until 45. This is our project in BPPT, such as biofuel, biogas, energy plantation, geothermal, smart energy, electric vehicle, and also green hydrogen. And this is the example. Our activity is covering, not covering all over the Indonesia, but it's just a several location. Several locations that we're doing the biogas in Riau, and then the biodiesel mainly in Java and Sulawesi, and then in Papua. And we do also helping the private sector to doing the coal upgrading, and we doing a clean coal technology also. And we have also waste oil to fuel. This is located at Kalimantan. This is very interesting project also. We have a pilot plan at there. And for the electricity, we combine the ecotourism. If we want to use photovoltaic, we combine it in ecotourism, so we can introduce the electric vehicle also. And this location is the interesting place is located at Baron. This is near Yogyakarta, and many students go to there also, not only for education but also in tourism, and also at Sumba, because Sumba have so high intensity of solar, so we created at Sumba. And the geothermal is a big potential in Indonesia. Our pilot is located at Lahendong and also at Kamojong, and we will start also at Sumatra, because Indonesia has a ring of fire. No, and we also accelerated the electric vehicle. So many of the many of the I'm so sorry. This slide is so weird. We convert the ICE vehicle into the electric vehicle, and also we convert the electric vehicle into the hydrogen vehicle, but not in the implementation yet about the hydrogen vehicle, but we're doing the prototyping of the implementation, how to use the hydrogen, how to know about the safety, and how to combine it to the PV. So we put in the golf cart, we put solar panel at here, and then we put also the hydrogen fuel cell at here. So we also set up many of the charging stations in Indonesia, but BPPT can only have 5 locations, but we will add 2 locations again. But we want industry, we want the private company to help our national target, yeah, to increase the electric vehicle in Indonesia. So I just want you to know about our activity, and this is the last one. What about how can we achieve the net zero emission? We now must do the coal decarbonization, because Indonesia, 70% of the power generation in Indonesia is still from coal. So we must do the decarbonization from coal system. We're doing carbon capture, but we do, the first one is co-firing. If we introduce the carbon capture, we still need a high investment on this. And another one is we go to the green hydrogen, because we're developing the methanol, we're developing the, well, some of the new industry is coming about soda ash, caustic soda, also the biodiesel, they need the hydrogen. The hydrogen is still coming up from coal, so we want to accelerate also the green hydrogen. So hopefully that all of the program will accelerate the net zero emission target, but we hope this not only the government sector that we will do, but the private sector should be go inside this program also. And the government setting up the regulation, we're now talking about the how can we achieve 2017 of net zero, because some of the association in Indonesia told us that we can achieve in 2050, but we must setting up the fixed regulation to achieve that, and follow the rules to and also follow the well, investment, also the technology, of course. So me and my team doing the research and innovation and new and renewable technology, we hope the collaboration from the international, we hope the collaboration of many stakeholders will giving us more opportunity to implement it, the new and renewable energy. So thank you very much for the time, and we will discuss again. Okay.
Thank you very much, Professor. And yeah, I mean, Indonesia has a big goals, and I'm sure that there is a significant need for the researchers for doing the studies to help these big dreams to be achieved. I mean, we aim to have it not 2070, maybe that's with more collaboration that we have. I listened that you have 3,000 researchers, so we'll be happy to also collaborate with all of these researchers. Thank you, Professor. That I know you have a schedule, but hopefully you can stay with us to have a joint discussion. But then I move to Professor Lee Poseng, that's the associate professor with the Department of Mechanical Engineering at the National University of Singapore. So you've been promoted this for two months, 1 month, professor. That's gonna be so. For that's gonna be also 5 minutes to share that what's the ESI doing, and then how will be also related or connected with the initiative that we are launching, Professor. Yeah, I'm sharing your screen. Right.
Okay, thank you, Benny. Okay, so I would like to just run through a few slides on what ESI is working on. So the presentation title is actually Policy Study on Energy Trilemma. Okay, next slide, please. So, but basically, we're actually addressing the issues related to the 3 pillars under the energy trilemma, and how to actually balance the sometimes conflicting demands. So I think the one of the areas, or the one pillar, is actually that of energy security. So basically, the effective management of primary energy supply for domestic and external sources, and the reliability of energy infrastructure and the ability of energy providers to meet current and future demand. I think especially so for a country like Singapore, right? So we don't really actually have a lot of energy resources. So in fact, we actually import pretty much most of our energy resources, with the exception of solar, which is still going to be limited, right, given the limited landmass of Singapore. So the second pillar will be energy equity, specifically addressing the accessibility and affordability of energy supply across the population. So as a general policy, Singapore don't subsidize energy costs, right? So that's why we are actually very much subjected to the volatility of fluctuating energy prices in the global market. And third pillar will be environmental sustainability, which encompasses the achievement of supply and demand side energy efficiencies and the development of energy supply from renewable and other low carbon sources. So this is an area that ESI actually work closely with colleagues who are focusing on technology development. So within NUS, we also have a Center for Energy Research and Technology, as well as the Solar Energy Research Institute of Singapore. So the such institute focus, as I mentioned, more on the technical development. So we're actually trying to bring together the policy, the angle together with technology development, as well as the social, economic, and environmental assessment, so as to conduct a more holistic study for our stakeholders, be it the government agencies or our industry, the clients. Next slide, please. So briefly, ESI was established at NUS back in November 2007. So I've been in existence for more than 13 years and coming to 14 years. We actually conduct research on energy policies and their national, regional, and global implications. And especially so for Singapore, right? Because we are a very open economy. So that's why we are always affected, not only by the development within Singapore itself, but also the developments in the regional and the global landscape. So in the process, we actually hope to promote discussions and advance collective understanding on issues related to energy policy development. So ESI is the only research institute here in Singapore focusing on energy policy. But as mentioned, we actually work closely with our counterparts who are actually focusing on technology development. So currently we have about 20 researchers strong, with degrees coming from various disciplines. For example, economics, business, law, political science, public policy science, and engineering. Next slide, please. So in terms of our vision, we aspire to be the leading institute for strategic research and a global thought leader in energy policy. But certainly it actually starts with the Southeast Asia region, the ASEAN region. Yeah. So in terms of mission, right? So there are actually two specific aspects that we are actually addressing. First is actually to conduct research on energy policies and their national, regional, and global implication. And the second is to promote discussions and advance collective understanding on issues related to energy policy development. So I think the second point is actually in fact very important, because as a small country, right, there's only so much that we can do, right, that will sort of make us some difference in terms of, for example, the climate change, whatnot. In fact, it's actually very difficult for Singapore alone to move the needle. So that's why it's actually important that we adopt a collaborative approach whereby we work closely with our ASEAN neighbors so as to make a material difference in terms of addressing climate change as well as energy-related challenges. Next slide, please. Okay, so for ESI, as I mentioned just now, so we kind of closely align our activities based on the three pillars under the energy trilemma. So that's why I think in the terms of the way that we organize ourselves, we are actually organized in terms of three divisions, right? So first is actually the energy economics division, specifically focusing on the energy, viability. The second will be the energy and environment division, and the third will be energy security division. So in terms of the funding, we are primarily funded from our Ministry of Industry, Trade and Industry, MTI, but we also work closely with other ministries, including the Ministry of Sustainability and Environment, as well as our Ministry of foreign affairs. So again, kind of mapping according to the focus of each of the division. So besides the ministry, we actually work closely with the agencies, right, ranging from the Energy Market Authority to our Economic Development Board, our National Environmental Agency, as well as the National Climate Change Secretariat. So there are actually a few other agencies listed below. In the interest, I would skip them. Next slide, please. So I've listed some examples of recently completed projects undertaken by ESI. So under the first division, so some of the recently completed project includes energy consumption rebound effect in Singapore, solar integration options, integration solar photovoltaics into Singapore long-term energy technology portfolio. And the second lot of projects or sample projects includes Singapore Energy and Decarbonization Pathway, developing an emission inventory for HFC based on IPCC Tier 2 methodology, as well as GHG emissions from international shipping strategies and impact. And under the energy security division, so some of the recently completed project includes policy and law for nuclear safety and security, Belt and Road Initiative for energy sector in ASEAN and Singapore, as well as the ARNECC Research and Networking. Next slide, please. So other activities that our institute and our staff are concerned ourselves with includes publication in international academic journals, including like energy policy, energy economics, applied energies and energy, as well as editorialships, as well as editorships of journals, right? So kind of mapping to what I've mentioned earlier on, as well as the service as reviewers for academic journals. So we also involve ourselves in the co-supervision of both PhD, masters, as well as undergraduate students, and offer internship opportunities for NUS students, as well as hostings of visiting students and scholars coming from certainly this part of the world, as well as China, Japan, South Korea, India, Austria, Germany, Italy, UK, and USA. So we also have a so-called deliverables in terms of convening and outreach. So we actually also publish ESI bulletin, policy brief, as well as reports, as well as sort of partake in consultancy work, usually in partnership with industry players. Okay, so in terms of our long-term objective and strategies, it's actually provided in this slides. So this kind of mapping to what I mentioned under the mission and the vision. So to be a leading energy policy think tank in our field, and to be an oasis for debate and innovation and hub for modeling, and to be known for timely analysis, and to be a partner of choice or the go-to think tank in this part of the world, to meet the expectation of stakeholders and to develop a system for revenue generation. So the last one is actually really to work towards self-sustainability, because currently we are actually funded by mainly by MTI, but MTI is expecting us over time to also be able to sustain our activities as well as our manpower. So in terms of the supporting strategies, so certainly we are actually constantly developing and maintaining the core competency as well as developing new ones, and to attract, develop, and retain high quality staff and talents, and issue a stream of high quality outputs, which we certainly hope to share with the ASEAN research community. And I think that's where we will be able to leverage heavily on the ARNECC Research Database, and to establish a robust working relationship with external actors. So with that, maybe I also like to briefly touch upon what we think the ARNECC can be actually useful, right? So I personally think that the ARNECC database really actually assists ASEAN energy research, as much research is actually not published in the major international journals. Hence, the ARNECC Research Database is really a welcome addition, and ESI researchers and collaborators will likely benefit from the library of information. And we look forward to both assessing and contributing to the database. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. That's it's very impressive ESI work as well. We collaborate for many years with the ESI in various study as well. Then I'd like to invite my dear good friend, Dr. Per Christensen, is currently Science and Technology Counselor at the Norwegian Embassy in Singapore, where he supports Norwegian companies, university, and research institutes for growing cooperation and market opportunity in Singapore and in Southeast Asia. So engaging with people who are doing research is already your daily work. So would you mind to tell us more, and then how we can see the benefit with the ARNECC Research Database?
I will do that, Benny. Thank you very much also to Dr. Otama and to the co-panelists for giving me the opportunity to be here. This is a very important initiative, and which we'll support as much as we can. As you mentioned, Benny, I'm the Science and Technology Counselor at the Embassy in Singapore. Can you hear me? Okay, right. Yes, perfect. So basically, I am representing also the business community, the Norwegian business community in Southeast Asia, in addition to looking after the academic and research collaboration between Norwegian universities and the institutes and relevant counterparts in this region. So although I'm in Singapore, and although our focus has been to a large extent on Singapore Institutes of Higher Learning, including NUS, that Dr. Lee represents, we are taking a wider Southeast Asia view, especially related now to energy and climate areas. So our approach is to address challenges within the energy and climate change around the so-called knowledge triangle, meaning we connect universities, research institutions, and technology development within companies. So the company element, the company engagement, is very important. We estimate that there is about 100 Norwegian companies in Southeast Asia engaged in the energy sector. Maybe half of them are in the conventional oil and gas activities, but we also see them more and more moving over to renewable elements. So the others are covering renewable energy, including solar, both conventional and floating solar, that is coming up big time now. Offshore wind, we see that coming up in Vietnam, Philippines, Taiwan. Hydropower, we've been here for many years in that space, and also geothermal energy that Dr. Devi mentioned. So earlier this year, we took the initiative to establish the Norway APAC Business Network, or NABN for short, to connect all these companies with the embassies, Norwegian embassies and trade promotion offices, with the purpose of sharing information and insights about what's happening in the region. Tenders, projects, roadmaps, challenges, research activities, etc., in the energy and climate sectors in ASEAN and Australia as well. So the ARNECC Research Database would be a fantastic tool for us to understand more what is happening on this space, and a good communication tool for us to bring home to Norway and also to the companies that we want to involve in the research and technology development sector here. So regarding research collaboration in the region, currently we see most of the activities towards Singapore, including National University of Singapore, Nanyang Technological, A-STAR, and other universities as well. The specific focus so far has been on renewable energy, such as floating solar, where there is a strong connection to Ceres. I think Professor Lee, you mentioned that as part of NUS, and on maritime decarbonization, including clean shipping and port technologies. Here we are in close collaboration with the Maritime and Port Authority. And we also see on energy efficiency and energy systems. One example is the utilization of cold energy that I know is also special interest for Dr. Lee. For example, using the cold from regasification of LNG into data centers, or even farming of Norwegian salmon in land-based farms in Singapore. So you can use cooling for that. We are also looking quite a bit into the circular economy, including waste management, circular food production, which is also part of the sustainability and the decarbonization. So beyond Singapore, we have been involved in research collaboration for many, many years. I just mentioned a few examples. We took the Norwegian government funded and drove an initiative for looking at carbon capture and storage about a decade ago. especially building a subterranean a mapping or an atlas of subterranean storage capacity for CO2 in ASEAN countries, where institutes from Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore were involved. Of course, I have to pull out, of course, the excellent collaboration between ACE and NUPI, the Norwegian Institute of International Affairs, supported by the Norwegian Foreign Affairs, covering a wide range of energy and climate topics, including this database. So this is a fantastic result of this. And also I like to mention studies and research that has been done on building a regional electricity market, where Norwegian institutions such as Nord Consulting was heavily involved. Also, the Norwegian Water and Energy Directorate has been engaged in energy projects in the region, primarily on hydropower and on grid infrastructure. Examples: Myanmar, Laos, Vietnam. So the global and regional challenges related to climate change can only be solved, I believe, with regional and global cooperation. Technologies and solutions developed to address these challenges has to be shared among institutions, among government, and among companies. Research collaboration and such a database at the ARNECC is one of the foundations for this. So we are very much supporting this initiative. We're looking forward to take part of it. I was just clicking around and I already now see how this can be used for my communication to the Norwegian entities on what's happening with the opportunities, the problem statements, the mission statements in the region, and hopefully we can also contribute with insight to this database. So very congratulations to all of you for pulling this off. And I'm very much looking forward to be a part of this. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, and for the very encouraging words. We have a very limited time this morning, so I just go one round of questions to, if I may go. I mean, it's going to be, if I just go with Professor Lee first, that's going to be talking about the research environment. ESI is considered the leading research institution in the Southeast Asia region. But I mean, especially if you're referring like the annual publication of the Global Go-To Think Tank Index, but we do not see much of the other university of research institution coming from the Southeast Asia and coming to this list. So what would be your suggestion or your view that how we collectively grow this research community, having more university, more research institution in this region, Professor?
Sure, yeah. So actually the institution like Economic Research Institute for ASEAN and East Asia, the ERIA, and ASEAN Studies Center of Chulalongkorn University that do a lot of good research on various energy related issues on the region. So their work is actually highly complementary to that of ESI, which is like bringing together the experts across various disciplines to holistically address the energy trilemma, also related issues. So there's certainly more we can do to promote the discussion and advance collective understanding on issues related to climate change and energy policy development across the Southeast Asia region. And I think some of the reasons why we don't see other institutions from ASEAN region so being more visible, I think it's because there are not many medium or large size institutes that are specifically dedicated to energy or climate change within the ASEAN region. But as mentioned, certainly we can work together, right? So second being, I think the research tends to be focused on their own countries rather than the external environment. I think collectively ASEAN should certainly look into more of a collaborative model. I think in the doing so, I think certainly we can actually look into the collaboration, joint publications, publishing in international journals. I think that will certainly help to raise the visibility as well as the profile. And if we have critical mass, then certainly I think there will be the possibility of actually having more think tanks in the region, specifically focusing on energy and climate change. In terms of what we can do collectively to I think that you're supposed to have another question later on, right? Which is on what we can do collectively to build the research community. I need to leave at 12. So if you allow me, maybe I will just also briefly share my thoughts on this. Okay, so I think one area is certainly in the area of training and development. I think certainly ESI is actually very keen to work with our counterparts in the region to actually look into the joint specialist manpower training and development. The other is actually really to come up with a scholarship to promote or encourage Southeast Asia energy researchers to train and stay within the region. I think certainly that there can be brain drain issues, right? Then the other is actually really to sort of encourage more dialogues and maybe specifically during this COVID period, right, to have more webinars, right? And to all, when the travel situation starts to open up, to organize like short regional tours, right? For example, 1 to 2 weeks, right, whereby you can actually, in the past, I think like US, Japan, China have actually organized educational field studies, which enables researchers to visit the countries to learn about their energy profile. I mean, likewise, I think the region as a whole can also do the such, or rather organize such a short regional tour, so that we actually have better visibility of the different activities pertaining to the energy as well as climate change that are being sort of undertaken by our counterparts across the region. I think in doing so, certainly I would think that we'll have a better chance to build a strong research community in this part of the world.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Professor Lee. Then I'm not sure whether Professor Enya is also online. That's going to be, if I pass it, Dr. Precious, that is going to be just connecting what Professor Lee mentioned. That's going to be train the researcher and stay in the ratio. That's good. I just go with the point. Is this our last session because we don't have much time left? It's going to be there is, I mean, it's kind of mixed match with the developed countries with a lot of researchers and developing country where we are still growing the number of our researchers. But much of the issue of the climate change is happening in this region. I mean, it's going to be How do you see that? What we can do? That's going to be if 2-3 minutes, Dr. Perkester.
Yeah. So I was thinking, what is the main drivers for boosting research and research collaboration? Let's say between ASEAN countries and Norway, for example. I think there are 3 elements that has to be addressed. The first is relevance. Second is quality. And the third is funding when it comes to research collaboration. For the relevance is, for example, we see in Europe now that there is the target or the objective for the research and technology developments is shifting towards high level of TRL, a technology readiness level, meaning that you combine entrepreneurship and commercialization into the research focus. Engaging companies at a higher level, and getting company engagement and buy-in in the research programs. We see this happening in Singapore to a large extent. A lot of the research is relevant for industry, is relevant for commercialization. It has a high TRL level. So that is one determining factor that it's a trend towards more usefulness or relevance for this one. On the quality side, it's all about connecting people. So I believe that professors and researchers, the excellent professors and researchers, will gravitate towards each other based on the quality and excellence of the papers and publications. But they need to know about each other. So they need to find, they need to know who's doing what, and then they will gravitate. The best professors, researchers will automatically gravitate towards each other. And I think this database is an excellent tool for doing that as well. So maybe I should ask a counter question on what are the criteria for posting articles. But I assume there will be mechanism for peer reviews, for quality checking, so that you know that this database is not only an accumulation of all research, but it's quality research. That will make it very attractive to plug into for researchers. And then you have a bottom-up approach from the researchers. And that bottom-up activities where principal investigators, professors, researchers find each other. They come up with good ideas, proposals. That it triggers the funding, because the funding is always the crux, especially a bilateral funding. But if you have an under forest of people finding each other and signaling that they want to research together, then the funding comes automatically. So I think also here energy industry engagement is a trigger for that one. So you go in, you find each other, and the database, you need to connect people, and that's what we're doing with this database and your activity at ACE as well.
Right. Thank you very much for the. I mean, it's going to be the next step. I mean, we are studying that. Definitely, we'll go with that kind of direction and look forward for the collaboration as well. We should end our panel discussion. I just have a check with Professor Enya. Will you able to share your final thoughts? No, then I'd like to thank you, everyone. Thank you, the panel discussion that Professor Lee, Professor Enya, and Dr. Per. And then we should move to the next session a bit later, but I think to my colleague, Suwanto.
Okay, thank you, Mas Benny. So in this session, I would like to introduce our next event. So ASEAN Center for Energy and the University of Brunei Darussalam as academic partner will hold the very first ASEAN International Conference on Energy and Environment. And this event is supported by ASEAN Climate Change and Energy Project ASEAN. This event is planned to hold virtually on 15 to 16 of September 2021 in conjunction with ASEAN Business Forum, ASEAN Energy Business Forum in the University of Brunei Darussalam as a host. The theme of the event or this conference is the ASEAN Energy Transition with Resiliency in the Post-Pandemic Climate Change Era. The event aims to gather energy environment scholars related to ASEAN and to share recent research on energy and then climate change, environment, especially toward energy transition with resiliency. The event will also serve as a scientific meeting for ASEAN Researcher Network on Energy and Climate Change, or ARNECC. And we already had several confirmed speakers, and we are now calling for the paper submission until the end of this month. And we encourage you to submit or extend this information to your colleagues or your friends to submit the extended abstract. And the topic itself is related to the energy transition and energy climate, for example, about renewable energy technology and policies, high efficiency, or low emission of fossil fuels, and then energy efficiency, smart grid, and then sustainability, sustainable transport, and then COVID-19 energy system, energy in Paris Agreement, climate finance, economy, and climate adaptation for energy system. And you may submit the abstract to our submission system on the website of this conference. And in this conference, we have extended and diverse expertise of scientific committees from universities and international organizations. You also have a chance to publish the paper in IOP conference series on Earth and Environmental series, that is index-based opus. And if you are still having any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us, and we are ready to accept and welcome your abstract very soon. Thank you. Back to you, Mas Benny or Dr. Zulfikar. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Suwanto, for the briefing for the first ASEAN International Conference on Energy and Environment. So in the first year, as mentioned, ACCEP through ARNECC as well is supporting the first ACE. That's why we have the topic of energy and climate change. So we are encouraging all participants to send the paper to the first ACE. I think it's very interesting because it will be a triple helix event held within the ASEAN Energy Business Forum, which is in conjunction to the ASEAN Ministers on Energy meeting as well. Again, before closing, I just want to mention one of other regular activities of ARNECC, which is the ARNECC Paper Talks. We have it monthly, and we are actually encouraging all the researchers for you to share your paper that we can discuss a talk in a more casual way between the researchers in the region. So you can send your paper to accept.com at aseanenergy.org. Can you have the next slide, please? And this is what we have in the clauses. Next week, actually, 3rd July 2021, 2 p.m. we have a paper related to the compensation mechanisms for distributed PV in 3 ASEAN member states, Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam. We have the author of the paper and also Dr. Trinh Hoang from Vietnam as a commentator. So enjoy us to have this casual but still a scientific and with some policy implications discussion in our ARNECC Paper Talk 5. And I think if we can go to the next slide, that will be all. And we encourage you as well to visit our website, accept.aseanenergy.org, and our official social medias in Twitter, Instagram, and also to check our ARNECC page. And as mentioned, and as the main purpose of today's ARNECC database launch, we encourage you to visit our research database, to look through, hopefully to read through the papers there, and as more especially to share your paper there so that we can have more interactive discussions, more open, and we can also show, as Per Crystal Lund has here, what is currently the hot topic of research in the countries, and then we can bring it into policy, we can bring it to private sectors and have a more impactful research in energy and climate change in the region. I think that will be all. I would like to thank again the moderator, the panelists for the great discussions, for your time, and also the whole participants staying with us, even though we are like 5 minutes late. So without extending it more, I would like to close today's launching talk. Thank for everybody. See you next week, hopefully in our ARNECC Paper Talk, and also see you in the first ACE conference coming this September. Thank you very much and have a great day. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you very much.
Thank
you
you
very much. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you and bye-bye.